Hey everyone, this is my second thrift with me, and we're at the Goodwill Superstore and Donation Center in Sacramento. This time I took Mommy with me, and this is a pretty big Goodwill. Most people are under the impression that if the Goodwill is in a better neighborhood, that they will have better inventory. That is entirely inaccurate. Goodwill ships their products all over the country, so even if you donate to a location in Sacramento, those items may end up somewhere like in Montana or something like that. Goodwill has a pretty extensive network, including online. So they are at the point where they hire pickers who are educated and know what they're looking for, so they can sell those things on their online store for big bucks. So here we are in the pots and pans area. I love these pots. I'll be picking it up in a second. There we go. I'm looking for vintage farberware, but I think this one was a Paul Revere, so it's pretty new. I collect the vintage farberware that was made in the Bronx, New York. I love those pots, so I'm always looking out for them. I use them pretty frequently too, so they have a lot of inventory at this location. This location is on Florin Road. It's a pretty rough area, and it was crazy crowded today for some reason on a Monday. I'm always looking in those boxes to see. I quickly turned my attention to the arts and frames section. They have a lot of frames and oil paintings, acrylics, department store art like IKEA and Target pre-made art. This little daisy needlework thing down here was like $5, but I decided not to get it. I did find a piece when I was here. It was a portrait, but it didn't have a signature. And I checked it out, and I think it was pretty new. I couldn't tell if it was made out of like chalk or pastels. There it is right there, down below, the woman with the dark hair. But I ended up not getting it just because it didn't have a signature, and no signature, no worth. And here I am going through the cooking utensils, of course. I love going through the cooking utensils, looking for vintage Echo, which this hand grater was. Shows a little mark right there, stainless steel. They don't have their cooking utensils marked. I think they're all like one price, but I don't even know what the prices are. Again, a lot of inventory, really have to dig. Did have a few Mexican pottery things today, which it's been a while since I've seen any of these. But they weren't the talavera that I'm used to, the really bright, like turquoise and green and oranges. So I passed on it. Plus, it was like $6 or $8. This was underneath it. This looked a lot more modern, and it was also like I think $8. And I'm just not like a crazy collector of Mexican pottery. I have some, but lots of glass and crystal bowls. Me moving really fast. I think at this point I was just kind of over it. I wasn't really coming up on anything today for some reason. I don't know what was going on. But I mean, that's how thrifting is, right? Like one day you find like something you've been looking for forever, and for the next 2 weeks you don't find anything. Some punch bowls, lots of stuff in boxes. If you're patient enough to look through them, tons of silver and silver plated things. That I do use these for my dinners and my pop-ups and props in my food photography. Super great. I saw these little mugs. They're Christmas themed, and I remember seeing like teddy bear prints like this when I was younger. They have a date. They were marked from 1992, but there was only three of them, which is a super odd number, and they just won't sell as much as if there was an even number. So I just left them behind and went down the bric-a-brac aisle where there's like votives and candles and things to hold the votives and candles, old ashtrays, things that I do not collect or usually buy. Sometimes there's like a wrought iron plant stand here. That's where this would be, but I rarely come across those anymore. And if I do, they are hip to the game and price them and mark them up. Those were kind of cool. Those little gold plated candle ombre thingies. Lots of plates and bowls. None of which I see that I collect. Lots of people this morning, like I said. And people at the thrift store and yard sales, flea markets, they do not know the meaning of social distancing. It's all about the hunt. Nothing really at all today. I am in the holiday aisle. I always look for vintage Halloween and Christmas stuff. Vintage Halloween things, if you can find them, are worth a hell of a lot, but they're really hard to come by these days. Almost impossible. If you do, it's almost like finding, a unicorn out in the world. I tend to find a lot more vintage Christmas things than I do Halloween because vintage Halloween collectors are just, maniacal about collecting. There were some Christmas things, but nothing really. Like I collect ceramic Christmas trees, art pottery with the little plastic bulbs. And for a while, I could find those all the time in different sizes, and those have been getting ridiculously difficult to find because they are now trending. I love collecting vintage ornaments like Sunbright, holly. But I like the ones with the frosted decoration on them, and those didn't have them. Tons of boxes to dig through if you have the patience. Tons. Looking for vintage Christmas advent calendars. Always got to take a look at the lamps just in case. They didn't really have anything. I will spend hours sifting through vintage cookbooks, but and those are all the cookbooks they have. But I didn't have the patience today, and I definitely don't want to do that on camera. One of the Goodwills in Sacramento has a book room that is great. I always find cookbooks in there, like ones that used to, that came out. Oh, this little cat that were, $40, and now they're like $2. He had a chip on his ear though. I don't like to leave cats behind, but what the hell was that? That was so weird. It was another cat. I thought it looked like a Laura Birch cat, but it had a chip as well. Lots of kitties here. Some collector's plates. Some more artwork, but most of it was just kind of prefab. Nothing really original. That wreath right there was kind of cool. How did I miss that? I came across this costume squash necklace, and I haven't in a really long time. It was priced at $17.49. And, this type of costume jewelry is hard to sell, and I wouldn't wear it myself because I'm allergic to it. But still, I haven't seen it, even costume jewelry, in a super long time. I don't even look at the jewelry department that much anymore because, like I said, they sieve and save all the good stuff to sell at premium dollar on their online accounts, Mommy's Feet. And I headed over to the clothes, the plus size clothing, just to see if I could find something, which I didn't. So I moved on to the furniture because I'm always looking for mid century modern furniture, and I'm still looking for a table for my barbecue outside. I saw this brass coat hanger. I haven't seen anything brass in a long time just because it's trending and they go fast. But for $14.99, I just decided to pass on it. This hutch was so cute. And they didn't want that much for it, but it was like, how the hell am I going to haul this thing home? And you know how it is. Shipping is ridiculous. Local pickup, oh, it's just too much of a headache if it's not something that I'm going to keep. And they didn't really have this location doesn't really have too much furniture anyway, like ever. So I just kept it moving. So I usually look at fabrics and textiles to look for unique patterns, things that I can use for my backdrops and food photography and my upcoming cookbook. One of a kind vintage patterns like these two right here. These were kind of cool, but they were small pieces of fabric and they wanted a lot for what they were. But I didn't get them, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't get them. So I just went down the fabrics. They have like fabric, bedding, everything mixed in together, so you kind of have to dig or know what you're looking for. Like I came up on this right here, which is kind of cool. It was very brown. And I came across this, it was like a polyester silky dashiki type of lounger that you'll see in a minute. But I just decided not to get it because it was like, I think they wanted like $6.50 for it. And it was cool, but I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. Here it is right here. And it was vintage and it had a vintage label, which is really hard to find vintage plus size clothing. But after this, I just decided to leave. So thanks for thrifting with me, and I hope that you will come by for another one. All right, y'all. Peace.